How can we make intensive listening more interactive? I think much depends on what we do before, during, and after the listening. Here are some ideas. Before listening. Asking questions before listening to audio, listening to a story, or watching a video has been shown to significantly increase memory. Not just of what is being questioned, but even of other information that was not specifically asked about. Anything we can do before the listening activity to increase the children's anticipation about what they are going to listen to will increase the children's engagement. On a simple level, we can provide words that may or may not be in the recording or story. The children can choose the words they think they will hear and make a sound or perform some action when they hear one of their words. For example, they could stand up, raise a hand, mime the word, make a funny face, run to stick their word on the board, make a silly sound, or ring a bell. Another way is to provide the children with pictures of words or scenes. The children guess which ones will be in the listening material and put them in the order in which they think they will hear them. They can guess either individually or as a group. As they listen, they rearrange the order if necessary. My personal favorite is to tell the children the theme of the listening activity and invite the children to guess what words they think they will hear. For example, if the theme is a zoo, the children either just call out animals they think they will hear or write the animals in a bingo grid and play bingo while they are listening. While listening. We can continue to build up anticipation while the children are listening. A simple way to do this is to start the recording or story, and then pause and invite the children to make guesses about the rest of the recording or story. We can often pause and ask what is going to happen next, or even do simple things like ask the children what they think the next word will be. To bring listening activities alive, it makes a big difference if we interact with the children as we go along. The children can act out a dialogue or story as they are listening to it, or they can call out suggestions or answer questions. It is fun to use puppets to act out a dialogue or story, and the children can take on the roles of the puppets or guess what a puppet is going to say next. We can make the listening practice itself into a game or fun task. On a simple level, the children can touch or point to pictures or words they hear while listening. These can be in front of them, or they can run and touch words or pictures. The children can also do tasks while listening. We, or one of the children, can describe a picture for the children to draw, or we can give instructions as the children make something, such as origami. I have already mentioned that the children can play bingo while listening. They can circle words on a bingo card or put pictures on words. They can play other games like this. One of my personal favorites is for the children to circle words in a Treasure Island map while listening. I will explain this game in more detail in the next video. Another kind of activity is for one of the children to listen to a recording using headphones. She can then describe, dictate, or summarize what she hears, and the other children can draw or act out what she says. This kind of activity can be done in pairs or in groups or as a whole class. If the listening material is long, it can be broken up into sections, with children taking turns to use the headphones. After listening. With almost all listening materials, I think the most important thing is to integrate the listening with the rest of a lesson, or to come back to the important language points in future lessons, not just to do the listening in an isolated activity. Important words, phrases, and grammatical structures in the listening material need to be recalled periodically by the children. In my case, I would include these language targets in games. It can also be helpful for the children to try and remember what they have heard shortly after they hear it. One of my favorite ways of doing this is to be an absent-minded teacher, or to have an absent-minded puppet. I act like I'm trying to remember what I heard, but make humorous mistakes, and the children correct me. There is a debate about whether comprehension checking after listening is necessary or not. It is often argued that it can feel too much like a test and cause anxiety. Instead, we can just notice whether children seem to be able to understand and try to make material more engaging or comprehensible if the children don't seem to understand. On the other hand, comprehension checking can be a good way to get the children to focus on and extend particular words or patterns they have heard. For example, let's look at a dialogue. This dialogue is for older children, but the same points apply at other levels. The language target is combining locations to make them more precise, so not just on the table, but under the newspaper on the table. A traditional way to check comprehension would be to ask questions like, "Are Dracula's socks on the table?" "Dracula's socks are on the table, true or false?" Or, "Where are Dracula's socks?" I think the first two questions are almost a waste of time. The children can answer by making a guess that has a 50% chance of being correct. "Where are Dracula's socks?" is a lot better, but it can still feel like a test or an academic exercise. Here's another way that I call comprehension personalization. Teacher: "Are Dracula's socks on his head?" Child 1: "No, they aren't." Gesture for the child to ask another child. Teacher, prompting, "Where?" Child 1: "Where are Dracula's socks?" Child 2: "They are under the newspaper on the table." Teacher, prompting, "Your socks." Gesture for the child to ask a question. Child 2: "Where are your socks?" Child 3: "They are on my feet, in my shoes." Gesture for the child to ask anything. Child 3: "Where's your dog?" Child 4: "Maybe in his bed in the kitchen." It will probably be necessary to prompt quite a bit the first time the children do this kind of practice. Notice that the first question is absurd and leads to a negative answer, and this creates a need for further questions. After the children get the hang of this, they can enjoy asking their own absurd questions about something they have listened to. The same technique can be used with reading comprehension. Dictation. Dictation is essential when children are learning phonics, for both listening and writing. Here's a technique that helps children notice phonics families and learn them more deeply. The target is the R phonics family. The teacher dictates R, and the children try to write it down. After the children have tried, the teacher writes R on the board without explanation, and the children self-correct if necessary. The teacher then dictates car, and the children try to write it down. In the same way as before, after the children have tried, the teacher writes car on the board without explanation, and the children self-correct if necessary. The teacher might then dictate words like arm, park, or nonsense words like gar or dar. The aim is for the children to notice the pattern for themselves and learn it in a child-centered way by trial and error. If there is time, words from 2 or 3 phonics families can be mixed up. To make things more fun, instead of just writing in a notebook, the children can write each word in a bingo grid, a battleships grid, a board game, a treasure island map, or something like that. In the next 2 videos, I will introduce listening games and activities